Welcome back. Glad to have you. The focus of this session is the construction of the iconic Kendo's gun shop from the OG Resident Evil 2. Why is Rebuilds making this? Because this is how Resident Evil fans end 2023. To start this process, we need a plan or a blueprint, and here it is.
Bruh.
Rebuilds drawing this himself. What supplies do we need? Simple, just some basic tools, some easy to find crafting material, basic paints, some glues, a little skill, and a little confidence. I'm going to build the base structure using this chipboard. I cut out 5 squares using the iconic one-of-a-kind Eta scale for size. But this is ugly board, it's not going to be the main walls, they're just for structure. I'm going to use ready board textured to look like stone. Why stone? When a nice light wallpaper would be better for a small dark area? Well, because that's what Kendo did. So we got to go with blurry bricks. How did I get this pattern? If you've seen my past videos or any other crafting video in history, you know that this pattern can be made by a lonely number 2 pencil. Next up is the front outside wall, which of course are bricks. But these bricks require uniformity in size and shape, so a ruler and a knife is added to the procedure along with the number 2 pencil.
Did everyone see that? Because I will not be doing it again.
After the pattern is done, I added some chipboard structure on the back side, and I left some space on each edge for the sidewalls. I went ahead and cut notches in the brick wall. These will make sense later. I cut a chunko out for the main door and large window, then I cut out the 3 smaller windows that you can barely see in the reference picture, but we know they're there, so the detail must be added. Speaking of detail, I beefed out the corners with more foam bricks, then I added this foam beam with the brick detail carved in it, and on top of it I added this foam girder beam that the Kendo letters will go on later. After hours of making brick detail, I was bored out of my mind, so I switched to making the furniture, and there's a lot of it. Which means it's woodworking time, which also means stinky math time. We need to measure and cut all the wood pieces out using Eta as the scale reference. Oh look, it's Gem Miku. What are you up to? Oh, you want to cut the wood? Okay then. Whoa, this is perfectly cut. Where did you learn how to do all of this?
Ah, yes. There was such a fellow once, wasn't there? But he died a long time ago.
What?
That even innocent, foolish children grow up in the face of pain.
You've been watching Naruto, haven't you? Thanks to Gem Miku, we have all the pieces cut for the furniture. We just have to glue it all together, which means a montage.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Hold your fire! I'm a human!
Sorry about that. I thought you were one of them.
What's going on in this town?
Hold on. I don't have a clue, but you should be safe inside here.
Okay, it all came out looking very good, but I didn't like how plain the main counters looked, so I added some trim made out of a candy box. I think it made it look a lot better, and I was happy with it. Speaking of happy, I'm very happy with the scaling little Gem Miku did when she cut all the furniture. Ada looks quite good with it. Gem Miku is a very helpful little mongrel, which made me wonder something. Why are you never helpful or nice like the others? You're telling a fib, Kawaii. You don't do anything nice. Oh, some sweet tarts. Don't mind if I do. Thank you, Kawaii. Ah! What the heck is this? A mouse trap? A dirty one? Oh, Kawaii!
Oh no!
Come back here, you little naughty little cookie. Where were we? Oh, right. Let's make the doors. The first one I put together is the inside one. The only thing special I did was use a paperboard as the backing. By doing this, you can make it look like it's a routed door. Neat trick, huh? I used a bead for the door handle, but admittedly I made this door a little too small, which is fine because it's barely seen in the final product. However, we can't get away with it with the main door. So I had Ada standing by to make absolutely sure I got the scale right, because this whole build is scaled to her, of course, and I think I did a pretty good job on the outside door. I really like how it came out. Let's tackle the floor and the ceiling next. For the floor, I cut out a piece of chipboard, but that won't be just the floor. I'm going to use this corkboard sheet to cover up the ugly cardboard. Now I wanted to make everything before I started painting, but I wanted to finish the floor, so I went ahead and painted it, a dark blue-gray. Once dry, it was really looking like scaled carpet. Using that corkboard was a smart idea by Rebuilds. He doesn't have many, but this one was. The ceiling is going to be a bit harder to make because you never really get a clear look of it in any of the pictures or the game. So I had to think about what type of ceiling were popular back in the 90s. The drop-down ceiling is what I'm going with because most businesses use them in their buildings. How am I going to make the ceiling? Well, I still have this corkboard, so let's use this. And how about some cardstock strips? Yeah, that looks good. Let's Mod Podge it and then paint it with some white paint. Done, right? Not quite. Let's dirty wash it. Yeah, now it looks like those terrible drop-down ceilings. Well, that's a good segue into painting. Yes, Payne is right. Rebuilds is aware that painting with Rebuilds is at best a confusing mess in the past, so let's keep it very simple. After I Mod Podged, I base coated the inside walls with khaki. Then I spiced up the walls with several colors that I believed worked well with khaki. For the outside walls, I used this dark red and gray for the base coats. Then I painted choice bricks with this orange, which is way too bright. I should have used a color more in the brown family, like the next color. This brown was definitely the right color to use, and not that orange. But let's just forget about it. Next, let's try and mute the colors, and when I say colors, I mean just that orange, with a khaki dry brush. Maybe it's better, but probably not. Let's move on, I don't know. Now the two doors, I painted the inside one a dark gray, and then I painted the handle a nice gold metallic, which is one of the only times I got to use my favorite paints. As for the outside door, it's just a nice brown color. Back to the furniture. I painted all of it in this chestnut brown, but that's not entirely true because this shelving got a black coat of paint. Okay, let's make up some washes, starting with a classic black wash. I black washed the inside walls and the inside door. This wash will be also used on the outside walls and door, but we'll hold off on that for now. Let's mix up a different wash for the furniture. I use this chocolate bar brown, which is slightly darker than the furniture's main color. It's a subtle difference once dry in color, but I think it adds something to the overall look to the furniture. Okay, the majority of painting and washes are done, so let's focus on the main gun case. Now this is where I had to make the decision to make the gun shop look pre-Raccoon City outbreak, or before it was ransacked of all of its guns. Why? Because I have all these scaled toy guns and I wanted to use them in the building. And once I gave them a paint job, they looked even better. After I glued the choice guns in, we moved on to making the glass, which will be played by this wonderful and expensive plexiglass / clear plastic card. This is nice, but it doesn't look professional, but you know what does? Cross-stitch canvas, which is also very expensive material. I cut out 3 door frames, and for the handles, rhinestone rivets, y'all. I glued it on, and it was done. What's that? You're wondering how I made this box? Let me show you. It's pretty easy. I just drawinged on this cereal box, then cut these lines only. And then I folded it like this. Easy. For detailing, I added this black strip that was the backing from a Ready board sheet, and it was done. This is how I made all the miniature boxes. Side note, if you're looking into making miniature anything, I strongly suggest you pick up this small L-shaped ruler. It really makes things easier in the world of miniature crafting. This one is the third one I have bought in the last year because someone is stealing them. Okay, now the Kendo sign. I will be using these wooden letters that were purchased for the build. I assembled the required letters and then painted them an appropriate color. I glued them on in an exciting crooked way, and yes, it says Gun Shop Kendo, which is not proper English, but what does Rebuilds know? I'm an American, we don't know anything about our language. Next, I black washed everything, and yes, some of it got on the windows, but that's a good thing. After that, I glued on the fire escape, made out of cross-stitch canvas and green paint. Before we finish, just a quick note on the lights that you'll see at the end. I bought these lights on cheap for this project, but they're the wrong color, meaning they're multicolored and not white, which is the color I wanted. My mistake, but I made them work as you can see on the screen. Let's finish the outside by gluing the front and two side walls that were built and painted off camera. It's very satisfying to see this all together. However, we can do two things to make this build more accurate to a real gun shop and to the OG Resident Evil 2. First, let's make it look like a real gun shop in America. I don't think there is any doubt who Kendo would favor next November, or any gun shop owner would for that matter. Now, how can we make this look more like the PlayStation 1 Resident Evil 2? Yeah, those perfect, charming PlayStation 1 blurry graphics that we 90s kids love. Okay, enough with the bad jokes, Rebuilds. It's time to roll those beauty shots. for watching. Kendo's Gun Shop was one of the 3 dream builds that I wanted to do on this channel back when I started it a year ago. And as we get closer to saying goodbye to 2023, Rebuilds was glad to get at least one dream build done this year. Kwai, get off the camera, you're gonna mess up the focus. Rebuilds will see you next year, probably building something none of you could ever guess, because he's kind of a weirdo. Mouse Miku, you too with the camera. The viewers are not food, nor is the camera. Come on, yous, say something nice to the viewers before we sign off for the year.
Stars.
Aren't you all nice? Be kind, rewind. We'll see you next year. Bye bye from Rebuild Studio.
Bruh.
Baby on my screen. This baby fish is annoying, so I said, okay, goo goo gaga. Goo goo gaga, suckers.